I'm so sorry. I think I have the wrong house.
You think?
Black single father opens his door at midnight. The drunk woman he helped was hiding a secret that changed both their lives forever. Marcus hadn't planned on answering the door that night. It was 11:47 p.m. on a Thursday. His 8-year-old daughter Zoe was finally asleep after 2 bedtime stories and a glass of warm milk. The dishes were done. His work boots were off. For the first time in what felt like weeks, Marcus Williams had 5 minutes to just breathe. Then came the knock. Slow. Uncertain. Like whoever was on the other side wasn't sure they were doing the right thing. Marcus grabbed his phone out of habit. Single fathers in Atlanta didn't open doors at midnight without thinking twice. He looked through the peephole and saw her. A woman, blonde hair falling across her face, blue shirt half tucked, one hand pressed against his door like it was the only thing holding her up. She wasn't a threat, she was a mess. He opened the door. "Hey," he started. She looked up. Her eyes were glassy, unfocused, but somewhere behind them was a spark of embarrassment. "I'm so sorry," she whispered. I think I have the wrong house." "You think?" Marcus said, one eyebrow raised. She let out a small broken laugh, then her knees buckled. Marcus caught her before she hit the porch. Her name was Claire. He found that out from the ID inside her purse. Claire Harrington, 34, from a zip code Marcus recognized as one of the wealthiest neighborhoods in the city. She'd clearly been at some kind of event. Her clothes were expensive, her jewelry was real, and she smelled like an open bar at a corporate gala. He didn't know what to do at first. Call the police? A cab? Leave her on the porch with a glass of water? No, he couldn't do that. His mother hadn't raised him that way, and he wasn't about to let Zoe wake up and see her father turn away someone who needed help. So he did what Marcus Williams always did. He handled it. He helped Claire to the couch, got her water, and sat across from her in the armchair. Door open, lights on, everything proper. Within 20 minutes, she was coherent enough to tell him she'd been at a work dinner downtown. Her driver had canceled, and she'd started walking, thinking she knew the neighborhood. She did not know the neighborhood. "I live on Briar Glen," she said, rubbing her temples. "That's 4 blocks east," Marcus said. "You went west," she groaned. "Of course I did. I'll call you a rideshare." "No, please." She stopped herself, then said quietly, "I'm sorry. If anyone sees me like this, it's over. I have a board meeting at 7 a.m. Marcus studied her for a moment. There was something underneath the embarrassment, a weight she was carrying that had nothing to do with alcohol. "Drink the water," he said. "You can have 20 minutes, then I'm getting you home safe." She blinked at him like no one had spoken to her that simply in years. "Thank you," she said, and she meant it. While Claire sobered up, she met Zoe, who had, of course, woken up because children had a sixth sense for chaos. Zoe stood in the hallway in her dinosaur pajamas, staring at Claire with wide, curious eyes. "Daddy, who is she?" "A neighbor who got a little lost," Marcus said. Zoe tilted her head. "Like in Moana?" Claire laughed, a real one, surprised out of her. "Yeah," she said softly. "Exactly like Moana." Zoe, satisfied with this answer, climbed onto the couch next to Claire and offered her a stuffed elephant named Gerald. "Gerald helps when I'm sad," she explained seriously. Claire took Gerald with both hands, and for just a second, something cracked open in her expression, something real and raw and very, very tired. Marcus saw it. He didn't say anything. Some things didn't need words. He drove her home at 12:30 a.m. Claire lived in a house that made Marcus's whole street look like a movie set. Iron gates, a circular driveway, manicured hedges. He didn't react. He just pulled up, put the car in park, and said, "You good?" "I'm good," she said. Then she turned to him. "Can I ask you something?" "Go ahead. Why did you help me? You didn't have to." Marcus thought about it honestly. "Because you needed help. And I was there, that's all it was." She stared at him for a long moment. People don't usually just help, not without wanting something. "I'm not most people," he said simply. She got out of the car. Then she leaned back in through the window. "I'm Claire Harrington. I know, I read your ID. I'm the CEO of Harrington and Cole." Marcus blinked. He knew that name. Everyone in Atlanta knew that name. Harrington and Cole was one of the largest real estate development firms in the Southeast. "Okay," he said. She almost smiled. "Okay," she echoed. Then she walked inside. He didn't expect to see her again. But 2 days later, there was a knock at his door. Daytime this time. Claire stood on his porch with coffee from the good place downtown and a look on her face like she'd rehearsed what she was going to say 3 times and still wasn't sure. "I wanted to thank you properly," she said, "and to apologize, and to return this." She held out Gerald the elephant. Marcus laughed. The first real laugh he'd had in a while. "Zoe will be glad to see him." They ended up talking on the porch for an hour. He learned that Claire had built her company from nothing, started as an intern at 22, bought out the firm at 31, and had been running it alone ever since. No husband, no family nearby. Just work, and the quiet, heavy loneliness that came with being the most powerful person in every room. She learned that Marcus had raised Zoe alone since she was 18 months old, that he worked in construction management, that he coached Zoe's Saturday soccer team, that he'd never once asked for sympathy for any of it. "You seem very," she searched for the word, "settled." "I know what matters," he said simply. She looked out at the yard where Zoe was drawing with sidewalk chalk, elaborate dinosaurs and what appeared to be a rocket ship. "I used to know what mattered," Claire said quietly. "I think I forgot somewhere between the second acquisition and the Forbes profile." Marcus didn't say anything. Sometimes the best thing you could do for someone was just let them hear themselves. Over the next 3 weeks, Claire came back. Not every day, not in a dramatic movie montage way, just... She'd stop by, bring coffee, sit on the porch. Sometimes she'd help Zoe with a puzzle. Sometimes she and Marcus would just talk about nothing. Music, Atlanta traffic, whether dinosaurs would have been good pets. And slowly, something shifted. Marcus started looking forward to the knock. Claire started leaving her phone inside. When she visited, Zoe declared that Claire was her second best friend after Gerald, and Claire looked like she might cry when she heard it. Then came the morning that changed everything. Marcus got a call from his boss. The construction firm he'd worked at for 6 years was cutting his entire department. Budget restructuring, effective immediately. He sat at the kitchen table for a long time after he hung up. Zoe was at school. The house was quiet. He did the math in his head. Savings, expenses, Zoe's school fees, and it was tight. Very tight. He didn't call anyone. He didn't post about it. He just sat there the way he always did, figuring out how to carry the weight. When Claire knocked that afternoon, she took one look at his face and said, "What happened?" He told her. She didn't gasp. She didn't offer empty words. She sat across from him at the kitchen table, the same way he'd sat across from her that first night, and said, "Tell me what you're good at. Everything. Don't leave anything out." He listed it. She listened. Then she said, "Harrington and Cole is breaking ground on a $200 million mixed-use development in Midtown. I need a site operations manager, someone I can trust, someone who actually knows what they're doing." Marcus looked at her. "Claire, this isn't charity," she said firmly. "I looked you up after that first night. Your project history is exceptional. I would have called you eventually anyway." A pause. Maybe. He was quiet for a long moment. "Why are you doing this?" he asked. The same question she'd asked him 3 weeks ago. She met his eyes.
Because you needed help, and I was here." A small smile. "That's all it is." Marcus started at Harrington and Cole the following Monday.
Zoe made him a card that said Daddy is going to his new big job, with a drawing of a dinosaur in a hard hat. He kept it in his desk drawer. Some things in life don't arrive the way you expect them. They don't come wrapped in perfection or announced with trumpets. Sometimes they knock on your door at midnight, lost and uncertain, and change your entire world without either of you planning it. Marcus Williams had opened his door that night not knowing what he'd find. What he found, slowly, quietly, beautifully, was that kindness, given freely, has a way of coming home. Touch the soul.